Let's get in some perspective on the market here. Mark Matthews of Bank Julius Baer and Company is with us. Mark, good morning. Good to have you with us here. Thank you very much. Prashant this side. So the election is done and dusted. Results are out. A bit of a shock recovery yesterday. Where does it leave us? Foreigners are still on the sidelines, still selling aggressively, Mark. But they were selling even before the election results. So I'm not sure how much of this result has contributed to their views and if they changed or not. But let's just start there. Mark, your thoughts?
My thoughts on the election is it doesn't change my opinion of India one single bit. This is an economy that's growing at around 7% and will continue to do so for the next few years. And that's going to translate into kind of mid-teens earnings growth. And there are very few countries in the world like that. So doesn't faze me one bit. As for the foreign selling, I can't comment on it. I don't understand it. Doesn't make sense in my opinion. This is an economy which in 3 years' time will be the third largest economy in the world, too big to ignore. And with bond investors beginning to allocate to India when India is included in JP Morgan's Emerging Market Bond Index on the 28th of this month, and I believe that the Bloomberg Barclays Index and the FTSE Index will follow. Bond investors will be allocating, and one way or another, the equity investors will have to participate in this market.
Mark, hi, good morning. So, I mean, any sense on what the thinking is and what is the chatter that you're hearing around the election? One would have imagined that perhaps foreign investors see this as a bit of a buying opportunity because the market did sell off, though we've recovered half of those losses. But what's the sense on the new era of coalition politics that is upon us?
My sense is, in speaking with other people, that they actually don't mind this result, and it might somehow tone down the rhetoric a little bit. I don't know how else to put it. That's the message that's been conveyed to me by foreign investors who also look at India. I must confess that the small population of people who I speak with are largely on the same page as me when it comes to India. I mean, I tend to speak with people who think the same way I do, and they liked it all along like I do. So the people who've been selling, I don't really know why they've been selling. I actually don't know those people. I guess it's valuations. That seems to be the thing they fall back on.
All right. Hi, good morning, Mark, and good to hear your optimism on the Indian markets, even post those elections. I like the way you put it. It doesn't change your opinion one bit. So how do you approach these Indian markets then? I recall when we last chatted earlier in May, you'd suggest that maybe if the BJP comes back to power, then the mid and the small cap space as well could throw up quite a few opportunities. How do you position yourself in the Indian markets right now? Post this election verdict, is the preference for the larger cap names? Will you look at some of the mid cap names as well?
Yes, in fact, the mid-cap space is a place that globally we are paying a lot more attention to now because it tends to be a more cyclical space in most markets. And we like what we call quality mid-caps. Quality means things like low leverage, stable free cash flows, high intellectual product, a lot of intellectual product or brand names, good quality management, all the standard stuff. India has a big mid-cap universe. And so, with the few hundred names that you have in that space, you can easily construct a dozen or so that fit the criteria I just mentioned. But I'm more sector agnostic on India. I've always just felt that, not always, but the last few years, that as the country has entered into a new capex cycle, which probably should last another 6 to 8 years, the whole thing will just do well. So I don't spend that much time worrying about what parts of it.
I mean, the important thing is to stay invested. So I think if I can draw that conclusion, Mark, great to have you with us here. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it, as always, here on CNBC TV 18. Well, that's a quick view from Mark Matthews. Of course, he's liked the market here for some time. He continues to hold that view very, very firmly. We'll take a